Welcome back to another episode of Fully Unscripted. I'm Todd Lanter. That's Cash Daniel. Brandon Arve behind the scenes over here. Say hi, Brandon.
Oh, hey.
It is our Christmas episode as we prepare for December 25th, 2022. This is going to come out Friday to Christmas Adam, right? Christmas Adam Friday, Christmas Eve.
I call it like
Saturday.
Christmas in the hole because like Christmas Eve is like Christmas on deck, you know, putting in baseball like sports terms. So,
Fair
like,
enough.
You're at the plate, you're on deck, or you're in the hole. So
Christmas in the hole.
we'll have it on Christmas in the hole. Hopefully more than one.
All right. Well, we can't talk about the Kentucky basketball game that will have been most recent this episode because they play tonight. And I can't predict the future, although maybe I can because I did call
You did call the last game.
the Madison Square Garden.
By the way,
game.
did you get the mob to sponsor our podcast? While
I
you were up
did.
there
I got
in
us.
New York?
I got us.
What crime family?
Cash
did it go?
only. Cash only. The Lombardis?
No, you got to get the Gambinos.
I don't have the Gambinos in my pocket like that.
Yeah, we got to get the Gambinos in our pocket somehow. But yes, Merry Christmas to everybody. As you can see, we are definitely in the Christmas spirit. Hats. Todd's literally
Decked
the fuck out.
I actually do wear these pajamas like all the time.
That doesn't surprise
When
me.
I get home from the gym, because I usually go at night, you go in the morning. And by the way, I'm making that switch in 2023. I'm coming
Yeah,
back to the
dude,
morning.
because I'm telling you what, I literally just destroyed my legs. Like masculinity's been destroyed in the past 5 years. So,
That's a good reference.
yeah.
All jokes aside, though, I've been working out in the mornings was a punishment for so long that I just rebelled hard after school and started going at night. So I would do it like last thing to clear my head, go home and go to bed. So I would.
But you don't take pre-workout though.
I don't take.
So that's why that's why I can't work out in the evenings because I have
You're wired.
I'm wired to a T, like
Yeah.
a crackhead at Speedway.
Yeah. Well, I am gonna start taking pre-workout though, because here's what's happened to me in the last couple of years, and it's really been through COVID. I've started drinking a ton of coffee, like all day. So because I'm not in a normal routine where I get up, get out of the house and go about my day, so I started getting up, drinking coffee till 3 in the afternoon. And so it'd be hard to shut my brain off later in the day. I'd work out at night and, I'm just juiced up all the time. So I'm going to make the switch.
I'm gonna put you on my regimen.
I'm going to start doing pre-workout again. Well, I did it for 26 years and then
No, like my actual regimen.
we'll talk about it. So I'll do.
Can we hear from Cash, though, about what he just
That's what I was going to
consumed?
say. That's what I was
It's
going to say.
unbelievable, I think.
That's
What from this past weekend?
No, what you drank. What'd you say today?
Today?
How much caffeine?
No,
that was
last
when I
weekend.
about died this weekend.
Oh, okay.
That was fucking.
But go
scary.
ahead and tell them what the caffeine.
Yeah, so
the caffeine
okay,
portion,
let's get into working out and pre-workout for a little bit. So I'll go through my routine. So I have to work out first thing in the morning, just because. Be quite honest with you, like I love working out, but I hate it at the same time because it's just it sucks. To be quite honest, like it's hard.
Same.
It sucks, and like when I'm in there, like I literally can't wait to get done. But if the way that I'm wired and the way that it helps me mentally throughout the day is that if I can get the most rigorous, suffering, painful thing done first thing in the morning,
I feel like $1 million.
then the rest of the day I can take on literally anything.
Yeah.
So I wake up, I have breakfast, let that settle, get to the gym, and I take my pre-workout. So every time I go into the vitamin shop, I've been experiencing with pre-workouts ever since I was a kid. For people watching, well, you may remember this. Do you remember the original Jack 3D? Mm-mm. So for people that are, meatheads or gym rats like me, I started lifting when I was in 6th grade, thanks to my dad, because I don't know, he was a college athlete, realized how much the weight room actually means.
I started in 8th.
I wish I would have started.
But I
like
started
in
at
7th
5.
grade. Honest to God, I think it's stunning my growth because my dad's 6'5".
I started at 5:45. Not to interject on your story, but I started at 5:45 a.m. every day in 8th grade, and I really didn't start till I was always more cut, like I was toned and cut and everything, but I didn't start to grow until towards my senior year.
Yeah.
And then from the day I left high school to the day I started at UK, I put on 36 pounds of muscle. Like it hit
Yeah.
instantly.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
So I started lifting in 6th grade, and there was this pre-workout back in those days called Jack 3D. Mm-hmm. The way it was spelled, it'd be jacked, but they used the 3 as the E. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the fuck was in it, but it was like pre-workout and like steroids mixed. Like dudes like were getting big off of it. Like I don't know what it was, and they ended up having to. It was okay. To put it in perspective, it was like how Four Locos had their original blend.
Yeah.
Then they had to cut it down because people were fucking dying.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jack 3D. Like I remember this one story. This woman, she took a scoop before a marathon, and then halfway through the marathon, she was getting tired and all this stuff. Took another drink of it, and her fucking heart exploded. Like literally, like C4, bam, in the middle of that race. What I kind of felt like the other night. We'll get into that. But anyways, so I've been taking pre-workout and different supplements ever since I was in probably 7th or 8th grade. Probably not the smartest thing to do for young guys out there in the gym working out. Like to be quite honest with you, if you need a pre-workout, get something that's light, maybe a non-stimulant. Just starting out, but then as you progress and as you get older, safely move into it. Creatine, protein powder. Don't get on pro hormones. I can already tell you that. Just don't do that.
Yeah, you can. Well, it'll
fuck you up.
You can't.
Don't fucking do that shit.
It'll create an imbalance, like when
your testosterone, your natural testosterone will drop, especially if you're 15, 16 years old, like I was in high school, just trying to get big. And the thing about it is that like you take that shit and you do feel like a Greek god for about 2.5 weeks. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you get off that shit, you drop lower than what you started at. Yeah. So like if you started out benching 225 and then once you got on that shit, you would take your bench up to 250, 275. And then 3 weeks later, once you get off of it, you're barely benching 205.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fucked up. But anyways, so now that I've been, in the pre-workout game and the supplement game and everything like that, obviously we couldn't take any supplements in college. And the only time
Did they allow pre-workout?
So here's the thing. They told us like
you're responsible for
Madaleno,
mistakes,
Jim
basically.
Dog, Godfather, love him to death. He would always come in and we'd have those first of the year meetings of if you do this, do that, you got this punishment, that punishment, whatever. Then they start talking about failed drug tests. And actually they were talking about pre-workout because some people can fail a drug test. It's a false positive for amphetamines. And it actually happened to my buddy in high school because where we were such a small school at Paintsville in 1A, like if something happened to where like, there was a big party and somebody got in trouble or anything like that, everybody that was named that was at that place got drug tested. I don't know why, but we did. Mm-hmm. And he came back with a false positive of like amphetamines, like he was doing like meth or some shit. But he was only taking pre-workout. I can't remember exactly what pre-workout it was.
But you still failed.
But he still failed, yeah. So as I've moved along further into pre-workout and getting back into college, like they told us like, no, you can't take pre-workout. You can't do this. You can't do that. And so my pre-workout then was an 8-ounce Red Bull and a 5-hour energy from Speedway. It would give me a little jolt, just enough to get through the workout. But halfway through my sophomore year, I was like, because at this time I was just a special teams dude. And I really didn't think at that point I was going to play. Mm-hmm. So I was like, dude, fuck it. Let's just start taking pre-workout. Actually, get after these workouts. If I'm not going to play, at least I'm going to be, I'm going to learn a lot from Coach Hill and Coach Ed, two of the best strength coaches in the game. I'm going to take that with me, later on in life if I want to become a strength coach or, something like that, which I would like to get into that, be quite honest with you, maybe at the high school level and just try to teach some kids about some of that shit we did at UK. But so I started taking that and I would get drug tested and I wouldn't fail. So I was like, oh shit, just opened up a new door. So I started taking pre-workout again, creatine, protein powder. That's literally the only thing we would take. And so after I got out of college, I still do the same thing. I take vitamins, I take pre-workout, protein, all this other shit. Basically everything except PEDs. Mm-hmm. So every time I go back into the vitamin shop, getting back to that part of the story, there's some pre-workouts that I just didn't do it for me because I'm so used to like that shit that would make you want to, invade a village. Mm-hmm. And that's literally when I walk in, he's like, hey man, how'd that pre-workout treat you? I was like, it's good, but I didn't feel it. I was like, do you have anything that literally makes me feel like I want to invade a village on horseback? And he's like, bro, I got you. So he gives me this stuff. I can't remember exactly the name of it right now. It's out in my truck, actually. Yeah, it's actually my truck. But it's 400 milligrams per scoop.
I'm going to take some as soon as we finish this because I'm going to the gym after this.
Okay.
Honestly,
God, you've already had 2 cups of coffee, and the story I'm about to tell, you might just want to take a half scoop.
Okay.
So you get 200.
I don't need 400 milligrams. I don't want to interject, but I'm gonna do it again anyway, even though I said I didn't want to.
You're good at that.
I am. I'm fantastic at it. You should ask Maria. It's our biggest thing. She's gonna love that one. Okay. I never took pre-workout because I didn't want to take it when I was younger. I thought we'd failed drug tests when I was at UK. And when I got out of school, I didn't need it anymore. Like I was trained to do that. Mm-hmm. So I just have gotten out of sync in the last few years because of COVID, really, where I started going later at night. And at night, I was fine.
But here's the thing: if you can do it without doing pre-workout, then do it.
But I want to go back to going at 5:45 in the morning. Okay. So I'm going to start. I'm going to do it.
Well, but maybe you don't need a lot, but just just enough to get you going.
I was, without sounding like a complete tool, I've always been in good enough shape without doing all the other stuff to be what I wanted to be.
You're lucky.
But now I know.
You got good genetics then.
I know, I do. But now I'm 31.
Damn, you're old.
I know. Your metabolism slows down.
Testosterone drops.
Your testosterone drops.
Have you got your blood levels checked? I got mine checked the other day.
I'm scared to death.
See, I was too.
Yeah.
I really was. Go get it checked because I was right at where a 25-year-old should be.
Good.
So I was good with that.
Good. I'd like to get a month back in routine under my belt for the start of the year. Then I'll go do it.
Yeah.
But seriously, I always felt fantastic. I was always at the top of my game. Now I can start to see, like, I get more lethargic after I eat a big meal. I don't bounce back as quick. Like if I go drink, I don't bounce back nearly as quick as I used to. It's like I'm starting to feel it. So I need to.
Old sucks, brother.
I know. So I need to nail down my routine. That's part of what I was talking to you about. I need to nail down my routine.
You your testosterone levels naturally rise in that shit because you're in there competing. You're competing with yourself, but you're competing against other dudes too. And you want to see your boys succeed. You want to see that motherfucker throw up 365 on a power clean. You want to see that motherfucker throw up 405 on a bench press for reps. And that environment, that loud ass music playing, that's what we had in high school. But there was sometimes sometimes I would go in and get lifts in by myself and just it was therapeutic to me.
That's where I've always been the exact opposite of that because we didn't have those. Like in high school, when first off, I was doing it by myself. It was 5:45 in the morning. I'd be going to the Beaumont Y. It was for me. It was my it was part of my routine, my start to the day. My psychiatrists, like you
still
said,
is my psychiatrist.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the thing, dude. I'm so thankful for it because. Honest to God, I have no ideas. Everybody has mental. If people have listened to me talk before, they've heard my testimony, I guess, if you want to talk about it, of having anxiety and a little bit of depression here and there. But as I've moved forward in life, I understand it. There's some days where it's just hard to get out of bed. I fucking get that. I understand that. There's some days where you just can't go. But what are you doing in your life rather than shoving a pill down your throat to get a better result? Are you making a lifestyle change? Are you exercising? Are you getting enough sleep? I've made so many different connections at the gym. The guy I went and got my blood test from, Dr. Foster. Shout out Dr. Foster. You're an OG. Mm-hmm. He's the one that I met at Proof, and he was the one that recommended to me to come get my blood checked. So you meet so many different people, and I'm when we're out at the bar or whatever, and I'm seeing somebody oh, what's up? I've seen you at Proof, and they'll come to me I didn't want to disturb you during your workout. You looked like you were wanting to, kill somebody. I was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry about that. I was kind of in the zone.
I get it.
I was listening to my Mobb Deep and Tupac and my Biggie Smalls and all my dark rap.
Do you do the over ears?
No, I got the AirPods.
Right? I wear
the
AirPods too.
Yeah, but
I don't like that. I don't know why, but I don't like that.
The over ear.
Yeah,
I tried that, but
first off, I can't do any upward presses with dumbbells without hitting them.
Yeah.
If I'm doing shoulder or incline, anything like that, I'm going to hit them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I've never got it. Got it.
The thing about it, like with work, I'm glad we're on this topic because I've been wanting to talk about this forever.
Well, we're leading. I mean, this is an episode where we're kind of recapping the year. We wanted to bring Brandon in more often, talk about what we're going to do with the podcast in the next year or so. So this is important. This is stuff we haven't addressed.
But for me, it's just like it's a release that I get that I don't get anywhere else besides hunting or fishing. Mm-hmm. Everybody has their releases in life. And just knowing that when I look, like we're talking about, that's the hardest thing you're going to do the first thing in the morning. That's what I have to do. Go in, suffer. The biggest thing that I've learned, especially this year, is that if you want to grow as a human being, and I've heard this saying over and over again, like I'm at a weird point in my life right now where I'm proud of the growth that I've had, but I still feel like I'm not doing enough. But that keeps me going, to better myself, not only, with myself and with relationships with other people and business and different things like that. I feel like it all leads back to taking care of myself mentally and physically, which is in the weight room, which is, the cardio, the weightlifting, the stretching, everything that comes in between. Like I'm more flexible now than I was ever in college. Like you can go back, you can talk to Stoops, you can talk to Coach White, Brad or Matt House, Ed, Hill. They'll tell you I was stiff as a board. And to be quite honest with you, if I would have stretched and actually took that shit serious then and actually knew anything about dieting, because here's the thing, people think that working out is like you just have to work out. No. The working out part is a big part, don't get me wrong. But that's literally 40% of it.
Yeah. Sleep,
water. Eat, recover, and water. That's it. That's your other 60%.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that's going to help you grow. So
sleep is okay, I'm going to do it again. Sleep.
I'm sorry, Marie. I feel your pain.
Well, I mean, if I let you go on this topic, we'll be here for 3 hours, and you got to go hunting at noon.
I do have to go hunt at noon.
The one thing that I've always, blatantly ignored is sleep. Like I sleep when I have to. Like if I'm like, okay, I hit a wall, I have to sleep. Like that might be at 4 p.m. Like I might have been going. I don't literally mean up all night, but I might have worked out and come home and worked on stuff in my office till 2, 3 a.m, fallen asleep for a couple hours, been up at 6 and gone on about the next day. And then at 4:00 that next afternoon, I just hit a wall. And I'm like, I am not going to be productive at all anymore unless I take a nap. And I'll take a 30-minute nap and keep going. That's how I've treated sleep, always. And it started with sports because, going through the grind in high school, I just told you I'm up at 5:45, working out, doing all that. You get done with school, I'd have the men's basketball team practiced 2 hours after school ended because the women went right after school. So we'd get out of school at 3:20, I think it was, 3:15. And I wouldn't start basketball practice till 5:15. I'd be done at 7:15, come home, shower, eat, then start doing homework. By the time I sat down to do any homework, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I'd get up and, I'm up for a couple hours doing that, and I'd get up and do it all over again.
Sleep's the biggest thing, man.
So I didn't ever develop the right sleeping habits, and I've never done that. So I ignored sleep, still do, still don't take. That's part of one of the changes I'm trying to make is get back on a sleeping schedule that makes sense. And the other thing was dieting because I didn't have to. I did have good genes, and I could eat. At UK, I was burning 11,000 calories a day, or eating 11,000 calories a day. 11,000 calories. Like,
that's strongman shit, bro.
We used to have full pizzas. You could ask anybody this that was associated with the basketball team. We used to have full Papa John's pizzas, 1 per player, and 12 boneless wings from B-Dubs with ranch delivered to the lodge every night at 11 p.m.
How would you not throw up from that?
Because we were burning that much. I'm not exaggerating.
But still, like,
and that was after
the quality
we
of
went
the
to
food and what it is.
So you're eating
right
that
and going right to bed,
and then going right to bed. So that's literally sitting on you.
Yeah,
so like my rule of thumb is that I don't eat anything past 8.
Same.
Don't eat anything past 8. Let your stomach digest. Get good sleep. Get up and get the fuck out.
Dude, I'm telling you, it it developed. I'm not saying that they did anything wrong, but it developed the worst habits for me because we'd get up and have stretching in the mornings. So I'd get up. The first thing I'd do was drink a protein smoothie every morning, and then I'd go stretch and do like band work and like the hurdles, like where the hip hurdles, all that stuff. So we do all that first.
That was Coach Ed's favorite.
Yep. And then I would go do my own workout right after that. And then we'd have breakfast at the lodge. So I'd have the protein smoothies and all that stuff first and a protein bar or something, do the stretching, to get a lift in. Then I'd go eat a like omelet, full buffet breakfast type, like potatoes loaded up with sauce. Like I had a full buffet breakfast. Then I'd go to class. Then I'd come back and do individual workouts for an hour and a half. And then I'd have another protein smoothie, another snack. And then we'd have, I think we had lunch delivered right then. So I'd literally usually eat like a foot-long sub. Like I'd have like the Firehouse brisket and cheddar sub. And then I'd practice immediately after that, like right after eating that. And then we'd practice for 2.5 hours. And then we'd get done and we'd go to dinner at Malone's. And I'd have 2 entrees, like a steak and chicken.
You guys had Malone's paid for you?
Most of the time. And then, but we only had 13, 14, 15 people.
Yeah, there's 105 of
Yeah.
us. So we had the cafeteria.
Yeah. Well, we had the lodge, but sometimes we'd go to dinner at Malone's instead of the lodge.
I'm saying like
we
had a full staff
Yeah.
in there making food for us, and sometimes we'd have somebody come in and cater. Shout out my man Matt Falcone, who I'm actually going hunting with after this.
Nice.
So we would
hang on. Let me finish this. Let me finish the routine real quick. So
Okay.
I'm almost done.
All
so we'd either go to the lodge and eat with the chef, or we'd go to Malone's. And I'd always eat 2 entrees and apps and everything. And then we'd go to a movie or we'd have a break. And then at 11, they'd deliver that food. So I developed psychologically, there was no repercussions for what I ate or how I ate it or when I ate it. So combine that with this bad sleep and 10 years of aging and 10 cups of coffee a day. And now I'm like, all right, time to make a change, right? So I've just psychologically, the gym's always been a stress reliever, and I've always felt good, getting my workout in and when I'd leave and everything. Like I always was fine. But at 31 years old now, it takes a lot more than it used to stay at that even keel mentally and physically. Now, don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I mean, it's just I'm trying to find this picture of when I was in college and I went home for a workout, and I would send like progress pictures to Coach Hill. Mm-hmm. And at this time, dude, I thought I was in fucking great shape, whatever. And I'll find it here in a second as I'm scrolling through.
Well, keep scrolling.
I was going to say, I've been getting the best sleep of my life, and I have a 3-month-old at home, and I don't know how that's the thing.
What have you
that's
done
so backwards
to change?
Well, first of all, she sleeps, which is awesome.
That's great.
Did Harrison as a baby?
Yeah, for the most part. But yeah, like she sleeps, and so we sleep.
Yeah.
And I just don't know where that really came from. But I think at the same time, like what you're talking about, I'm 35 now. Mm-hmm. And not getting any younger, already starting to feel some of those pains of things that I didn't take care of before. So now being way more mindful about food intake and exercise and all that kind of stuff, I feel way better too. So it's probably why I'm sleeping better.
Well, I've always had, I'd hear like, I have a huge family, older cousins and everything. And I remember my cousins turning 28, 29, 30, whatever. They'd be like, man, I'm getting old. And I would be like in my head and out loud, I'd be like, you're not getting old. You're 20. Like, that's ridiculous. And they don't mean like, oh, I'm decrepit. Like they mean like, man, those little my knee that used to be sore every once in a while never stops throbbing now. My legs pop. My ankles
Waking
and
up to
feet
pee
pop
in the middle
every
of the
day
night.
when I walk down the stairs. I can't eat, I can't just decide on a whim I'm going to order a pizza tonight and like expect to feel okay in the morning. It's like the little things have started to add up. So you do have to be conscious about it. But they didn't mean I'm old like I'm old. They mean like I have to make the adjustments that I'd never had to worry about when I was younger.
So how does
it's the dieting part that also helps your sleep.
Yeah.
So it's like for me, for instance, it's like I have to at least eat my body weight in grams of protein. That's the main thing that I got to get, and it be clean protein. The other thing is like especially because like I'm in the bulking and the cutting, all that shit. So I'll have so many grams of carbohydrates throughout the week. And then once I get to a certain weight where I'm pushing enough weight in the weight room to where I feel comfortable with it, then I'll start cutting back on the carbohydrates and increase my cardio. So like for right now, I'm sitting at 200 and in between 225 and 230 grams of protein, 300 grams of carbs, less than 100 grams of fat, no sugar hardly, except for when I take my Oreos. So this is actually a cheat code. And for people that don't know, I'm sure a lot of people know. I was
going to say, you walked in here with a family-sized thing of Oreos.
Yeah, so that's my pre-workout snack. So the science behind that is that there's a lot of sugar in that, right? But not too much. And you only eat 2 before you work out. So you take your pre-workout, and then you eat 2 of those. So what happens is when sugar gets in your bloodstream, it spikes your insulin. And so when insulin spikes, it allows carbs, protein, your pre-workout, your creatine, everything that's in your bloodstream to enter into your body faster. And with those fast-acting carbs in an Oreo cookie or a Rice Krispie treat or something like that, that's what gives you what we call the pump, which in my opinion is almost as, if not better than sex.
I knew you were going down a rabbit hole.
I'm just saying that's the way I feel about it. But
is that why you came in jacked today?
I'm telling you, it's because I felt euphoric, man. I'm telling you, wilder than
he threw open the door and he was like, ah.
I got okay. I'm gonna. Do you want to follow up with that, or can I take this on a complete tangent real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I got to go see Hugh Jackman in The Music Man on Broadway in New York.
Yeah, I bet that was cool.
This is when I thought I was jacked.
Like, yeah, you're
cut.
I mean, you're
pudgy. I still had abs, but
you would have him for lunch. Now would have him for lunch. You gonna show that to the camera?
Which one?
The one that's looking at you. The left one.
Left one?
The left. This was your left over here. He's like, his mind
can't even see it, but like, I mean, I'm at that point. I'm probably sitting at probably 20% body fat. I'm moving.
Is that
weight.
What you were at when you played? 20.
This was like on winter break in going into my sophomore year, because at that point, like when I first got to college, like, you know, with me being from a small town and everything, like you had to sneak away to do almost anything, drink a beer, you know, all that stuff, have a good time with your friends, which was honestly some of the best times of my life. But
yeah, of course.
Once I got up here and it's like, oh shit, I can drink beer every fucking night if I want to, over with. So I was I was eating whatever I wanted to. It just wasn't good. And if I knew anything about dieting then, because then they like you're saying, they're just trying to give us food just so because we're burning so much calories after. Like we would literally, like in those before fall practice camp started, Madalena would come in and have us, each person had a Gatorade bottle that you had to have filled with water, and you had to have it in every single meeting or you got in trouble.
Yeah.
Because guys are going out there to practice, you had to weigh in and weigh out.
Yeah.
So I would weigh in at probably 230. I would come back from practice and weigh 218.
Yeah.
Just because of all the water weight I shed. So you're constantly having to have water. You're constantly having to have food. And I'm not sitting here saying that they didn't take care of us as far as like getting us nutritional food. It was just there were so many options where like at that point you just ate for taste. Like, and I tell people this all the time, like I eat the same shit over and over and over again, but I just mix it up different. Like
different sauces.
I'll have or tacos. Like I'll have ground chicken or ground turkey, or some people may know this, some people may not. Add your little fucking maple syrup in there. Mix that shit up. It gives you, even with all the spices you put on there. So I put garlic powder, paprika,
my
Tony
spice
Chachere's.
cabinet's outrageous.
Just add all that shit that you want, mix it up, and then dazzle a little bit of sugar-free maple syrup over that shit, and it gives you that kind of like a different flavor rather than just eating the same shit all the time. Then get you a low-calorie tortilla. Make tacos out of it. Add you some bell peppers in there. Add you some onions. Go from cut out rice, go to sweet potatoes, oatmeal, all that shit. I'm addicted to fucking oatmeal now because,
I hate oatmeal.
dude,
it's so good.
Put some maple syrup in that shit.
I need to change.
Put maple syrup in it. Bananas, unfucking believable.
Oats.
I love it, dude.
I lost my train of thought.
You ever put your protein powder in
I do.
oatmeal?
I
So
do.
good.
Awesome. Unbelievable. Yogurt, protein yogurt. Get the low-fat Greek yogurt. You can
Yeah,
get
I
it,
do that.
You can get
I
it
do that all the
flavored. I get mine with vanilla or blueberry.
Carb master.
You say, you
Yep.
go.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know what's up.
Yeah.
And
What do they call it whenever you put protein powder in your coffee? There's a
I
like
make
they-
like a frother out of it.
Yeah.
so good.
Like I literally put like a little bit of milk in it, not enough to where it's going to be straight like a milk,
Yeah.
kind of texture.
It's like a mocha.
It literally, it's like a milk, and I put that little stir in there and let it go, and then I put it in my coffee sometimes. But I like to drink my coffee like my soul is black.
That's how I'm drinking it right now. Always. All right. I remember what I was going to say. So I got to see Hugh Jackman on Broadway in The Music Man. And if you've seen him in Wolverine or seen photos of him when he's filming Wolverine,
I watched a movie with him last night, Prisoners. You ever seen that?
I haven't.
Dude,
Oh, yes, I have.
Prisoners.
Yes, I have.
Watch
But
that
he's
shit.
yoked,
Oh yeah,
right?
Killed.
Cut to death, yoked. In The Music Man, he's in the whole play he's in, or musical, he's in a suit, so you can't really tell how built he is. But he's a big dude, and he does not stop moving. He's singing at the top of his lungs, which, I mean, you've been to concerts. You see people, they stand still on stage or sit on a stool and strum a guitar and sing, and they're still out of breath and sweating because it takes so much out of you to do that. And he's singing at the top of his lungs, bouncing around the stage, doing full-on dance routines, picking people up, spinning them around in the air, full on for 2.5 hours. They
Shit.
took a 20-minute intermission, but for 2.5 hours straight, he did that. And he's dripping with sweat the whole time. And I watched an interview with him afterwards because I was like,
ladies' panties are evaporating at that point. I'd say.
he's got to be in the best shape of his life. Like, has to be. So I looked up an interview with him after I watched it because I was so impressed. I mean, to be able to sing for that long is one thing. To be able to dance that long is one thing. To be able to act and stay in character that long, but to do it all at once. And he didn't, he was in every scene pretty much. And so to go watch this interview with him afterwards where he's talking about it, he's like, I feel better than I ever have because he's back doing live show. Like, there's no oh, let me get a second. Like, I need a second before we shoot this next scene like he does in movies. And it's just constant, presentation. And it was so unbelievable to see because he's 54. I looked it up, watched the interviews, 54 years
That's
old.
wild. I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah. And being able to go out and do that,
It's the
nightly.
It's the
nightly,
regimen that he puts himself on.
Not like preparing for that showing one time. Like, he does 2 shows on Wednesdays and 1 every other day of the week. All the time. For that long. And after seeing him do it, I couldn't do that. I'd be dead. I would get 30 minutes in and I'd be like, I'm going to pass out. I'm going to pass out. And I'm just thinking, I'm following up on our point of this guy is taking care of himself. And it's, I mean, people, you hear acting and you're like, well, you don't have to be that's ridiculous. The stuff that he's done and the way that he's, the regimen that he's had to have been on and taking care of himself to be able to do that, I was blown away. And I look back at some of the stuff I was doing in college, like some of the runs and sprints and stuff we'd have to do. And I'm like, there's no excuse for me not to be holding myself to that standard or a percentage of that standard at least.
I'll tell you this, the regimen that I've seen the most improvement for myself, not only my recovery, but for my mental state as well and my energy throughout the day. Cold showers, ice tub. I'm telling you.
Did you get that from Tony Robbins? Where'd you get that?
There's science behind it. It's they call him the Iceman. I can't remember exactly what his name is.
Have you done the cryotherapy thing?
I did. And I didn't like it.
I don't like it.
I mean, it's cold as fuck. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't get the feeling of it like I would from an ice bath.
I hate ice baths.
But here's the thing: you don't have to stand there for 10. I used to stand there for 10 minutes. All you have to do is get 3. Go. Okay, when we get done here, go to Joe Rogan's Instagram. Watch that. That dude's almost 60 years old and he's still in the same shape he is because it's all about recovery. It's got something to do with your neurons in your brain. Releases more dopamine. There's a reason why that Vikings were the way that they were.
You just are drawing from your favorite show, and I
no, I'm not. No, this is legit because the guy that I'm talking about comes from Iceland, and there's talking about how the cold there's science behind it. Is you have to expose yourself to that amount of cold every day. Your dopamine goes up. Your recovery is a lot faster.
You do an ice bath every day.
I don't do an ice bath every day because I don't have an ice tub. Now I'll do an ice bath at least once or twice a week when I go to the gas station, get 3 big bags of ice laid in there, and I'll sit in there for 5 minutes. A lot of guys, what they do, and if I ever opened a gym, I would have a cold tub and a sauna right back and forth to each other.
When we open the gym.
Whenever we get the fucking money to do it.
That's a lot of...
But the cold shower part of it, too, is like I expose myself to that cold, and it goes hand in hand with what I'm saying in suffering, because as soon as I get done working out, I'm instantly going to the steam room. There's a difference between a steam room and a sauna. A steam room is, okay, let's put it in better terms.
Do you go every day after working out?
Every day. That's why I go downtown. A steam room, well, a sauna is like a soft acoustic guitar leading you in. Like you get a good feeling of it and whatnot. A steam room is like fucking slacks, or not slacks. Sorry, slacks. It's like Slash. It's like Slash just fucking ripping a guitar, because that's how intense it is, because it's literally just filling you with steam, and you get this feeling of like you're about to die almost. Claustrophobic, all this other stuff. And you're sitting there having to mentally battle with yourself, struggling mentally, saying, stick this shit out, stick this shit out. Instantly get out of the steam room, take about a minute break to let your heart rate kind of stop down a little bit, then instantly get in that cold shower and stay in there for at least 5 minutes. Now, if it were up to me and I had the time to do it, I would do 5 and 5 for at least 4 rounds. 5 minutes in the sauna, or 5 minutes in the steam, 5 minutes in the cold. 5 minutes in the steam room, 5 minutes in the cold. Vice versa, so I'll reach at least 20 minutes. Just because it's called, what the fuck's it called?
I don't have a clue.
Psychotic?
See? And now some people, you may call it psychotic. That's okay.
No, I'm
Put
not.
a label on me,
Hey,
Todd. That's fine. That's fine. People have been putting a label on me for years. I don't give a shit.
I just gave him a green light.
But it's, I'll think of the fucking name of it. Anyway, contrast therapy. Now, that's what we used to do in college, where we had the hot tub and the cold tub. We didn't have a sauna, so we would do 3 minutes in the hot tub, 2 minutes in the cold, 3 minutes in the hot, 2 minutes in the cold, 3 minutes in the hot, 2 minutes in the cold. End on the cold. You have to end on the cold, and that goes with just struggling mentally.
Why do you have to end on the cold?
Because at the end of the day, that's what gets you your ultimate recovery. And that's what gives you that fucking feeling of, oh shit, I'm wide awake. I'm ready to go. I don't have to drown 2 cups of coffee, and I don't have to take 800 milligrams of caffeine, almost kill myself, which we kind of got off track. I was kind of telling that story. Let me tell that story. Let's get into some sports after this freaking siren goes by.
I gotta talk about this. So while I was in New York, there was a fire truck go by, and everyone on the street, I mean everyone, not just kids, like grown adults, everyone was like, oh, there's a fire truck. And they all stopped and watched this fire truck go by. And
was
Maria
it hauling ass like that video? Have you seen that video on TikTok? Was it going fast?
No. But Maria and I just looked at each other and we were like, why did everyone just freak out about a fire truck on the street?
Does it have anything to do with FDNY, 9/11, all that?
No,
kind of stuff?
I mean, I don't. It didn't seem to. At least we were baffled. Like we both were just like, what is going on? Like everybody acts like it was
iconic, like an experience. To see
I don't know.
trucks
I don't
go
know.
through
I mean,
city,
maybe we just happened to be around a bunch of tourists that. I don't know. But it went by and everyone stops and watches. Like taking pictures. They're all pointing, and they were saying like, oh, there's a fire truck. Look at the fire. And we were like. Oh, every 3 minutes a fire truck passes in Lexington.
Yeah.
And to be fair, we didn't see another fire truck the whole time we were there. So I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it was.
Have you seen that video
bizarre.
I'm talking about on
No.
TikTok? Mm-mm. It's a ladder truck going probably 50 miles an hour through Manhattan. I mean, you can't go 2 miles an hour through Manhattan.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like it's literally going so fast through an intersection that it jumps.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Did they have the road closed?
No.
Oh, boy.
They had like a battalion chief or something come up front.
Yeah.
And they weren't, it's not like they were blocking the intersection because they were still just stopped before the line.
Yeah.
So I don't know how people knew to get out of the way, but thank God they did.
Yeah, no kidding. That's because people do not look for cars in the city. They see that light come on, the walking light, and they just go.
Like Buddy the Elf.
And if you
Speaking of Buddy the Elf,
walk
and
out
maple
into
syrup,
that
that
road-
motherfucker wasn't lying.
About
Maple
what?
syrup on almost everything tastes great.
Well, yeah.
Do you do candy corn on everything too?
No,
I don't like
hate
candy corn,
dude.
Candy
Yeah,
corn's
me too.
not good.
Not a candy corn fan.
Candy corn's not good.
Anyways, let me get back to this story and let's dive into a little bit of sports. I know we got a lot to talk about, and I got to get out of here in like the next probably 25 minutes. So back to the pre-workout stuff. So as I was saying, I worked myself up to pre-workout, and I walked in there and I told that guy, hey, I need something that'll make me want to feel like I'm invading I'm invading a village on horseback. He's like, no problem. Got you, cuz. Gives me this stuff. It's 400 milligrams per scoop. So I take one scoop, have a pretty good workout, but I still didn't feel it, you know? So I bumped it up to 2. Pretty damn good. And then for some reason, my brain, the way it operates sometimes, like, well, what if I did 2 scoops and washed it down with a rain, which is another 300 milligrams? I wonder what that would do. Not thinking about what it could do to my heart. So this was Friday night. So Friday night, I work out. I had 2 scoops of that pre-workout. So a scoop and a half. So that's 600 milligrams. And this was at probably 10 a.m. I had 2 scoops or scoop and a half of that. Washed it down
10
with the
a.m.
rain.
Friday.
10 a.m. Friday. Washed it down. Great workout. My heart rate already gets up pretty good while I'm working out, so I didn't think anything of it.
So 600 milligrams of pre-workout, 300 milligrams of rain. That's 9.
9, okay? Go about my day, feeling fine, all good. Had a glass of wine before I went to dinner. Go to dinner, had 2 vodka sodas with Sprite. That's my new drink now.
You're welcome.
You're the man. You do yours with oranges, though. How do you do that?
No, I do either vodka soda with Sprite and a lime.
Soda and Sprite with a lime?
I'm sorry, vodka soda with a lime, or I do tequila Sprite with an orange.
Oh, okay. That's where it threw me off. But anyways, so I had dinner, and at that point I had a huge-ass burger, which really wasn't that good. We get home. I'm sitting there, and I had another glass of wine. Well, no, before that, we went to this corner bar here in downtown Lexington, and I've never had an espresso martini before. I was yawning at dinner, and I was like, it's 7 o'clock. I shouldn't be, tired right now. Like I want to, it's the weekend. I'm usually in bed by 9:30 on the weekdays. Let's stay up to at least 11. Let's watch a movie. Let's do something. So I had an espresso martini for the first time. Didn't feel it. I mean, I kind of felt the energy kick in, but nothing to where it was like,
because you're used to dosing yourself with 800 milligrams every morning.
I don't know how many milligrams of caffeine's in an espresso martini, but then I also ate, just being an idiot,
Did you eat the
coffee
espresso?
bean.
Or yeah,
I ate 6 of those.
those are straight up espresso.
Yeah, I ate 6 of those on top.
That's a shot, essentially.
Yeah, so I ate 6 of those on top of the espresso martini. I go home, and we dig into this year-old bag of vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, and I've told you this is why I've had to quit doing it, because I get paranoid now. Like, it used to be something that calmed me down. It used to be something that, I would, use as almost like medicine. And I'm sitting there, and, as in recent years, I get in my head with it now. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching TV, and her head's laid up against my chest. And I really wasn't thinking anything of it. I could feel myself like starting to get a little hot. And she turns around and she goes, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. What's up?" She's like, "Your heart is beating out of your chest." And as she said that, my left arm started like getting tingly and like almost like kind of going numb. So then I start freaking myself out, of course.
Not you.
Yeah, not me. No. Hypochondriac over here. And I'm sitting there, I was like, "Baby, you might have to take me to the ER. Like, this is, like, I'm texting my doctor buddy. He was like, how are you feeling? This and that. He's trying to tell me everything's okay, but then my arm keeps hurting, and my heart just will not stop. So I have her drive me to the ER. And I'm sitting there and I'm filling out the stuff. Luckily, did not give them my insurance card yet. Mm-hmm. Filling out my stuff. And as I'm sitting there, I go, literally like this is, and I know this may sound like the craziest thing ever, but I'm sitting there thinking, I go, you know what? I would rather die than pay this $12,000 emergency room bill. Let's just go home and see what happens. If I go, I go. If it's my time to go. So we go home, and I'm just sitting there laying with my feet up, so blood's rushing to my heart and my head to try to get more oxygen. And I finally get like, out of that night, I probably got like 30 minutes of sleep, if that, because I would like literally try to like go to sleep, and then it felt like I would stop breathing, and my heart would just go boom, boom, and like it would just wake me up. I'm like, oh shit. So the next day, I go home, I sleep for a little bit, still feeling kind of weird. Go up, wake up on Sunday, go to church for the first time in 3 years. My arm's still tingling. I'm like, okay, there's something wrong here. Go to first watch. My thoughts are like scrambled all over the place. Like I'm having trouble speaking, like all this different stuff.
Do you think you were just in your head, or was it actually
I think it was a combination of both, to be quite honest with you, because the more I thought about it, the worse it got, you know?
That's how it always is.
So...
Sounds almost like a panic attack.
Oh, dude, a panic attack on fucking Trent is what that was. And so the next day, I wake up and everything's kind of fine. So I'm fine now. I should probably still go get it checked out. But note to everybody out there, don't overdose on caffeine. It's not worth it.
That's a lot of caffeine.
Yeah.
That's a lot of caffeine.
Dude, speaking of caffeine, I was over at RD1 the other night, and they had like this like military ball over there for these people. And when Joe...
The one that you were severely underdressed for?
Yes, this is what I'm getting to. So Joe from RD1, shout out Joe, you're my dog. Joe calls me in November. He's like, hey, you know, I know you're big with supporting the military and everything. There's some guys coming in on December 10th. You know, they're going to have, and I thought it was just like a tasting, like how we usually do. There's going to be like maybe 8 or 9 guys show up. We're going to sit there. We're going to drink bourbon. We're going to shoot the shit.
So you put on your uniform, black jeans, black boots, black shirt.
Son, I was in gray pants. I was in my gray jeans. I was in a black shirt, a green Bass Pro hat, and my my brown fuzzy coat. And because my buddy Luke was playing at Manchester, and it's right down the street. So as I was going to that, I was going to leave that and go straight to Luke's concert. Shout out Chili. So I walk in there, and there's like 70 to 80 people decked out in their army like
issue. Yeah.
Their dates are in dresses, and I'm sitting there looking like the biggest redneck of all time. No. I'm like, Joe, like you couldn't give me a better heads up, dude. And it's not Joe's fault. I'm just giving him shit.
Yeah.
So like before it got too crowded, I actually went home and changed, and I came back in, and they made this hooch. They put 3 Reigns in there, a full canister of is it Floggers or Flogers? Flodgers for coffee.
I don't know.
Oh, Folgers.
Folgers? Yeah, Folgers.
None of the above.
Yeah,
put a full thing of Folgers in there on top of bourbon, wine, actual whiskey, gin, like so many different drinks. Then they add in a brand new, hadn't even cracked the seal, brand new tub of C4 pre-workout.
What?
And they're stirring it up, having these guys come in, and like it was a big thing to where like, you know, they had the vice president, the president.
What fraternity party was this?
It's not a fraternity party. Trust me. And but for real though, shout out to the military. You guys run off on straight nicotine and, you know, caffeine. And I applaud you guys for that. I guess I was the guest of honor or whatever, and you could either take a shot of it or you could have like a little styrofoam cup of it. And I was like, I'm not being a bitch in front of the military. Mm-hmm. Like if they're going to drink cups, I'm going to drink cups. So it's my turn to get up there and drink it. I literally just down that thing because I know it's going to be absolutely horrible. So, and the guy was telling me to keep stirring it until I take the ladle and put it in my cup because the coffee is literally sitting on top of
that is the most absurd concoction that I can possibly imagine.
They also put nicotine in, like they literally took a bunch of Zins unstrip the pouches and put it in the fucking can and dump that in there as like just the powder of nicotine itself and just stir it.
Did they put gunpowder in it?
They might as well have. I mean, they might as well put C4 in there for all I know.
Sounds like the original Four Loko.
Exactly.
That's exactly
what
what
it
the
felt
recipe.
like. Because
probably.
after that night, I went to Chili's concert and I did not go to bed till like 4.
I saw you, and you were wired.
But yeah,
that
that's our story about nicotine, caffeine, and not do too much of it. But let's get down to sports. Let's get down into some Christmas stuff. I know we got to do a
And
Christmas
this
song
episode
draft.
starts now.
Oh shit! I didn't even do it. Shit.
I was going to say, we probably got to wrap in like 10 minutes anyway.
We do. Yeah, we'll get it
All right.
quick.
So sports. The bowl games have been going on. We've lost a couple. We've both won a couple. To be quite honest with you, I think I'm up 1 on you.
Okay.
Because I went back and I reviewed last week's episode. If you guys haven't watched that episode with Brooke Cromer, special guest talking about all NFL news, we'll leave the link in the description below. I know we did a shitty job of announcing that.
We did a shitty job. Well, I was unprepared for that show because, one, I was having to deal with...
You're getting mob deals, dude.
I was having to deal with the clowns that just decided to stroll into the conference room where I was sitting to try to do the
New York City.
to do the Zoom or the Riverside. And then I also didn't know that you were going to name every bowl game that they were playing. I thought we were talking
what was I
about
supposed
like
to do? Just name like 2 or 3
I
of them?
thought we were going to talk about like the top 10, like the ranked bowl games or
No,
something.
dude.
And he
We're
starts
talking about
rattling off.
every bowl game.
He's like San Francisco State versus Tulane College of the Deaf, and I'm like, I'll take 200.
College of the
I'll
Deaf.
take
whoever, but I still think I'm up 1.
All right, got
anyways,
it.
Big shout out to.
I do like the bet though. Don't forget about it.
I know.
All right.
Big shout out to my guy John Summerall, head coach down there at Troy. Unbelievable job, man.
We did both get that one.
We got that one. They were down, I believe, 12 or 13-0 going into the second half. Came back. Defense played unbelievable. The offense got rolling. You know, and it's awesome to see him. When I actually sent him a voice memo of just telling him how proud I am and everything like that, because I said, I literally in the voice message I said, I would tweet you, but I know that you would literally just quote tweet it and tell me that it's rat poison.
Yep.
So I'm just going to send it to you in a voice text. But for real, Coach Summerall, love you to death, man. You're doing a hell of a job down there at Troy. Best winning season since they've joined the FBS, and one of the best jobs of a first-year head coach that I've seen in any conference. So shout out to the boys down there in Troy. That was absolutely awesome. We also had a bunch. This was the weekend of the comebacks in NFL. Largest NFL comeback in history with the Colts game.
So I got to see that in Jack Dempsey's bar. For those of you that are familiar, are you familiar with that? You know what that is in New York? Do you know what that is?
I just know who Jack Dempsey is.
So huge UK bar. I mean, like this. So that game wrapped about an hour probably before Kentucky basketball's tip off in Madison Square Garden. So we went to Jack Dempsey's, which is again UK alumni bar in Manhattan, and I have never ever been to a bar in Lexington that was as rowdy and more blue and white than there was in Jack Dempsey's that day.
For the Colts?
I'd imagine that's
No,
true
for
today.
Kentucky.
Oh, so we're just literally skipping over football. Right?
No, I'm going back to it. So all the Kentucky fans that were in there pre-gaming for the UK game that was coming up were watching that game. I guess there's Bengals implications, playoff implications for that game.
Yeah, that was another comeback.
But I'm saying during that game, I wasn't aware of the playoff implications of that comeback. So everybody's watching this happen, and what was it, 32-0, right?
The Colts game?
Yeah.
Yeah, 33-0.
33-0.
33-0 going into the second half.
And it ended 36-33.
36-33.
So we watched
36 unanswered points.
We
Matt Ryan
on the losing end.
on another losing end. Remember, he was up 28-3 in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady.
The losing end
came back and beat his ass then. Come back and beat him for the Colts there. I feel bad for him, dude.
I do too.
Jim Irsay's
That was the
dog.
biggest losing end of the biggest Super Bowl comeback loss and regular season or NFL in
NFL
general
history.
Yeah, unbelievable. But I brought up the UK thing because I'm telling you, this bar is packed to the. I've never seen anything like it. I'll show you pictures. Never seen anything like it. Packed to the gills in this place. Even the bartenders are all wearing UK, and I was like, I knew it was a UK alumni bar. I didn't know it was like this. And apparently it's that way. I mean, obviously there was more there for the game for UK being in Madison Square Garden, but apparently it's that way every game, or not that packed, but always UK themed. And everybody's locked in watching. Nobody even gave a shit about the Ohio State game that was on. Ohio State, North Carolina, everybody was watching that game, that football game. And it was bananas. I mean, ecstatic.
Crazy. And then you had Joey B come back on Tom Brady down there. I was actually watching it with one of my buddies at my house, and it was, I believe, 17-3 going into halftime. And he's sitting there going, well, man, I might as well go home. I mean, it's, game's over. It's like, Chili, I've seen a lot of crazier things happen today, but we've already seen somebody come back from 33-0. So let's just sit here and watch. And I'd be damned if the most swaggiest dude in the NFL and Joey B did not come back and just absolutely beat the brakes off a 45-year-old Tom Brady. But it was crazy, though, because against that defense, man, I'm telling you, the Bucs defense still have an all-pro defense. From their front seven with their defensive line to their best linebacking core in the NFL, and I believe, in my opinion, with Levante David and Devin White, I think those two dudes are the best inside linebacker duos in the NFL right now. Absolute dogs. Then you got my boy Mike Edwards back there in the safety position. It was just crazy to see how they came back and the way they did it. You had the mishap with the fake punt. I don't know if they knew it was a fake punt. I don't know if it was a bad snap by the long snapper. I don't know what happened. And then Brady throws 2 picks. The whole third quarter was on the Bengals side of the field. They never crossed the 50 because of either an interception, the fumble, or whatever may happen. And they came back and won that game. It was unbelievable. And then my boys, Green Bay, finally got it done on Monday night. So shout out Green Bay and the Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
It was nice and frosty up there too.
It was really cold. And we got Packers Dolphins on Christmas on Sunday. Forget NBA basketball, Todd.
Where's the game? Green Bay, right?
Should be Green Bay.
Did you see
they won a winner in Wonderland?
Did you see the interview? I guess it was with Mike Edwards, right? From after the fake punt.
No, I did not.
I'll send it to you. It's pretty bizarre. He takes full responsibility, but it was a very.
It wasn't on Mike though.
I'm sorry, but it was a very. I think it was with.
It was one of the running backs.
You're right. It was the running back, but
it wasn't Leonard Fournette. I can't remember exactly.
No, it wasn't Leonard Fournette. It was the running back. I'll think of his name in a second. But the interview with him is bizarre. Like,
well, because the reporter tried to. And here's the thing I hate about reporters nowadays. They will literally try to bait guys into questions to where they can just make a headline out of it.
Yeah, of course they will.
And it was, I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but you see him turn around like, did you actually really just ask me that?
Yeah.
But he handled it with the most professionalism, just took it on the chin.
But it was weird because like he was like, you haven't talked to me all year and you want to talk to me now. Right. And they're like, well, you've been injured. Like it was just a very weird like power dynamic going on. And I'm like, this is bizarre. There's got to be something else to that story. It was so weird, but I feel bad for him. But
yeah, let's talk about Kentucky basketball for a second before I got to leave.
Okay. So
they're bad.
Yeah. There's a lot of issues. They're
bad.
I've been, I don't want to say avoiding this topic through this show, but we've kind of touched on it.
Don't chop my head off, BBN. They're bad.
Well, we've kind of touched on it very little through
I'm no basketball pro or analyst.
You don't have to be a basketball pro to see what's going on.
But if you put up 53 points in a basketball game like that, there's something wrong.
Yeah. So
are we bad or unreasonable as a fan base?
We're both. We're both.
BOAF.
It's we've always had this "what have you done for me lately" attitude. I think in this case,
everybody's attitude.
I think in this case it's justified. I mean, there isn't really an excuse that can be made for having the same types of issues repeatedly. Like, you want to see changes made. Like, you want to see, oh God, what? It's a fake phone call. I don't know what he's doing.
No, I'm checking a voicemail.
I've always been confused how we have such a deep bench. A lot of the guys don't play or they don't play well at all when they're here. And the moment they get to the league, magically they're great.
Well, Cal's always been the type of coach that he's going to coach his way, right? He's going to coach in his he's going to be who he is always. And he's a Hall of Famer. He's earned that right to do that. But some dudes just don't fit into that mold. And that's why Cal says, this place isn't for everybody, because he's going to coach you a certain way. And not everybody can handle that type of pressure or that type of dynamic. He made some comments after the game, like, we're going to go with, we're going to change this lineup. We're going to go with so-and-so. One of the guys he referenced hasn't played. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the roster and the starters and everything, because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But one of the guys he mentioned hasn't played in several games. And he's saying he's going to be the X factor. He's going to be, a guy we're going to start implementing more. I can't really understand why we've had some of the consistent issues that we've had, but I'm not in practice every day. I'm not seeing what he's seeing. I'm not the one that's got this vision for what this team can be. But what frustrates me is, we've seen examples of how good they can be. We saw what they did in the Bahamas, and I know that wasn't against good competition, but the things that they were doing, that they were doing well, we don't even implement properly right now. And we're stagnant as hell on offense. We're making mistakes that we don't normally make. Forced turnovers, missed free throws. There's never an excuse. And I don't want to sound like an old head by talking about this, but there's never an excuse for missed free throws. We've had at least one game where we shot 50% and two where we've shot under 60. And there's no explanation for that. There's no reason. There's no justification. You can't have that happen. You're not going to win basketball games that way at the collegiate level, especially at this level. There was some stat I saw. Let me find
I got
this
it right
real
here.
quick. Go read it.
So, and again, I'm not shitting on Coach Cal. I've spent a couple hours on a plane with him. We've bonded over Italian restaurants in Pittsburgh that we've both been to. Think he's a great dude. But since signing his lifetime contract in 2020, Cal and his teams are 67-34 overall versus ranked teams. They're 8-15 versus non-conference Power 5 teams. They are 7-11, 0 NCAA tournament wins, and 1 SEC championship.
Okay, that isn't it, but I'm going to try to find it real quick because this is a game.
Because I saw so many people calling for his head is the only thing that I read that stat.
We got to wrap in a couple minutes.
I know. I'm trying to find. I want to find this stat real quick. If I can't find it, I'll plug it at the bottom of the.
As you're saying that, Christmas spirit, Christmas right around the corner. This episode will be coming out on Friday. Todd, what is your favorite Christmas gift you have ever gotten?
Ooh, all the way back to when I was a kid.
Any kid?
I got a big wheel. You remember those?
Oh yeah.
So my parents. Well, let me rephrase that. The way that Christmas goes at my house, we come downstairs every morning. We always walk down the stairs in order. My youngest sister, then Kendall, then me. So Bailey, Kendall, me. We do that because we always have like our gifts, like our stockings are removed from the fireplace and they're placed in our dining room or our living room, I guess, where our tree is. So all the gifts that we've gotten each other and from family and everything else is under the tree. But the stocking that's filled with stocking stuffers from Santa and the Santa gifts have always been placed in like our little chairs, like our little corners of the room, right? So we all come down and we make our way over to our little corners, but there's always one gift that's left unwrapped that Santa gave us that we'd always, that was like our big thing, right? It's usually a physical big thing. And mine that I always stuck out in my head, like one of my nostalgic Christmas memories was a big wheel because I'd wanted one. I came downstairs that day. It was before Bailey was born. Obviously, I was very young. So Kendall comes down in front of me. I don't remember what her gift was, but mine was this big wheel, and it was sitting out in front of my stocking, with a big bow on it and just huge. It was at the time, those things are not that big, but at the time was huge. Massive. Yeah. And it's always stuck out in my head. I'll never forget that. My parents have always done a really great job of making that moment nostalgic for us. Hold
up. You're not saying it's Santa Claus?
No, I'm saying my parents have always done a great job of making that moment nostalgic for us, where they come down and they video it. Like we literally have.
Okay, I thought you meant like your parents are putting it up.
No, we literally have a video of that moment every year since I was born. I mean, literally of that moment where we come down. Well, at least since Kendall was born. So every year I have that video, and we still do it. Like I still go to my parents' house for Christmas. We still walk down in that order, and there will still be a significantly visual gift sitting out. Now, in recent years, that's become, grilling tongs or something for me. Something
like 60.
Yeah, exactly. But it'll be something big that's visual, that's cool, that's the first thing that catches your eye when you turn the corner from our staircase. And it's always been a little moment for me. But that Big Wheels thing was the first time I remember being like, what about you?
Probably I was 14 years old, and I just got into turkey hunting. I had to teach myself how to turkey hunt, and I used my dad's old pump 12 gauge until this point. And there was this one particular turkey gun that I wanted, and I still use it to this day. I come downstairs, and it's sitting there. And actually, it was the last gift. My dad hid it behind a tree. And I'm sitting there, I was at, we didn't get a lot of Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
But I was like, that was the one that I want. And it was my turkey gun that I got. And I'll never forget. I still use this day.
How old do you think you were?
I was 14.
That's awesome.
And I got that, every bird that I've killed. So that one over there on the mount right there beside you.
Yeah.
All the birds that I've killed on off season, which we do have new episodes come out on February.
Subtle plug.
Started the editing process for the Mississippi episode yesterday. We got Mississippi, Tennessee, and Kentucky coming up, so it should be a good time. But we got to wrap this up.
Hang on. We got to get out of here with this. I know we're leaving. It's 11:50. We got to go. Here's the stat for Kentucky basketball. Rewinding a little bit. Here's the tweet. Mind-boggling stat. In UK's 7 wins, they're averaging 17.7 fast break points per game. That's 12th nationally. In their 3 losses, they're averaging 3.3 points. That's 351 out of the 352 Division I teams.
That's wild.
So we're second to last in fast break points in all of our losses. So the answer to your question, we have, if we're not rebounding the ball, getting out and running, and then we have as stagnant of an offense as we do, that equals 53 points, and you lose ball games to teams that you shouldn't lose to.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So wild. We got a game tonight against FAMU. By the time this episode comes out, that will have already been hopefully a W in the win column. And then we got Missouri to open SEC play, even though it's not started the new semester yet, ahead of the Louisville game. L's down for life. Yes. Go online, get your
L's Down
sweatshirt ahead of that game. We'll put the link
in the episode that I wore last week. We'll leave the link to the description for Bluegrass Brothers down below. Give them a follow. Great product. Great
Merry
quality.
Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody. We don't leave milk and cookies for Santa here in Kentucky. We leave him a pour of Kentucky's finest and RD1 bourbon.
Well done.
Get you one yourself.
Next episode will be ahead of Nashville for the Kentucky Bowl game at New Year's.
Yeah, we going?
We're going.
Yeah,
we're going.
I'm still holding my breath.
We're going to talk about it right now off there. We're going.
All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was kind of off the wall, not usually sticking
fully
to our regular script.
Almost.
Literally unscripted. We don't have anything to talk about here on paper. So we talked about working out. We talked about caffeine addiction. We talked about caffeine overdose. We talked about Christmas. We talked about sports. Everything in between. If you could do something going into next year of 2023, do anything you can to better yourself, whether that be your mental state, your physical state, everything around. Just focus on you, because that's been my biggest takeaway of 2022 is, find yourself, find what makes you happy, surround yourself with people that your eyes light up when you're around them, kind of like this dummy over here. But
Merry Christmas, brother.
Love you, dog.
Merry Christmas, Brandon.
Merry Christmas, Brandon. We love you for everything you do for us. Merry Christmas to you, the family, and all the kids. And we will see you guys on the next time. And this podcast shall end right about now.